Hoodwink, swindle, bamboozle. Am I reading something for a 1930s private eye? Ah, at least he's paying me. Hello, people of the internet. Have you heard of QAnon? It's a scam, a swindle, a con. It's a three-card Monty. These folks are pulling the wool over your eyes, playing you for a sucker, hitting you with the old razzle-dazzle. And the man to tell you about it is here. From the Poker and Politics Twitter feed, it's the Exit Through the Griftshop podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Exit Through the Griftshop podcast. Today, I wanted to talk about power. And it's one of the main reasons why I think people join cults. It's why people get involved in things like QAnon. Because it gives them a sense of power. It gives them a sense of superiority. It gives their life a kind of meaning and purpose that it didn't have previously because they know things. They know secret knowledge. It's the basis of religion from when civilization began and we started creating religion. When the primitive people would see an earthquake or a volcano erupt, the dumb rubes would think that it was just some weird force of nature or some calamity. But you, the smart people, would know that Grok, the fire god, is displeased by the populace. And with the proper sacrifices, the volcano will not erupt again for 1,000 years. And it's that kind of insider knowledge, that smug superiority that comes with being in the in-group that knows the truth and being able to look down your nose at the out-group who is ignorant and unknowing of the real things that are happening in their world. It makes people feel a lot better about themselves. They get to feel really good about who they are and what they're doing. And one of the big things about this kind of group setting and mentality is that it makes you better than the people you're arguing with, because you are on the side of truth and justice and the light, and your enemy is a deceiving liar who is either in league or unwittingly arguing on behalf of people committing crimes against humanity. The most unspeakable acts you can think of is what is happening. And the person you're having an argument with is defending that. They're defending monsters. They're defending absolute monsters. I have, on more than one occasion, been accused of being a supporter of pedophiles or pro-pedophilia, because that is the mindset that these people have, that they are on the side of protecting the children, so that means that I am on the side of not protecting the children. And when you get to that point, when you make it such that pedophilia is a partisan issue, it is very easy to put yourself on the side of, I'm a good guy because I'm anti-pedophiles, so my opponent is a bad guy because they are pro-pedophile. It's like Godwin's Law back in the day. The first person to call somebody a Nazi loses the argument because they are no longer arguing facts. They're just throwing around the Nazi slur. Now people just throw around the pedophile slur, and that ends the argument. I can ask someone for evidence and proof of what they're talking about, and then they'll just say, why are you defending pedophiles? And that's it. That's the end of me. I'm defending pedophiles. Yep, take that quote out of context for you. But that's the whole thing about this situation, is it gives a person this sense of righteousness, of being a better person, of being a good person, because they are fighting a noble battle. They are fighting for a cause that is just and right. It is the protection of children. It is saving people from monsters. And that kind of power is very intoxicating. It's very appealing to believe that you are truly right and that you are truly righteous. And to lose that, I think, is very hurtful. I think it is devastating to one's view of oneself that you no longer have that sort of cudgel to club your enemies with. You just can't go around calling them pro-pedophile, because you have to accept that that's not what they're arguing about. That's not what they're arguing in support of. You have to acknowledge the facts and the evidence of what's going on. You have to acknowledge the reality of the situation, and that's not easy. To have to come down from this plateau where you were the better person, the right person, the person arguing from the side of the children, and then you now have to be like, yeah, you're just a guy like me, and we just have a difference of viewpoints, we just disagree on these things. It's not very fun. It's not very engaging. It doesn't give you a dopamine kick to have that sort of thing going on, because it's very thrilling to be fighting a really bad person. You listen to the polarizing language that we have in politics and religion, and everyone is very angry, because it's a great way to get worked up. It's a great way to get passionate and to get, in this kind of sick way, inspired, because you really think the other person is leading people down a dark path that's going to lead to really bad things happening, and really bad things happening to good people. And you're working hard to fight that. You're working hard to prevent that from happening. And you know you're right. And that's the whole culture of QAnon and these cults, is that it inspires you to believe that you know what's going on. You have the facts and the truth on your side. And the people that are denying you are ignorant of what's really happening. They are clueless as to how the world truly works. And you try to show them the truth, and they reject it because they are blue-pilled normies that don't get it. And that leads you to go back to your group of red-pilled insiders who know everything and see everything. And it lets you double down and triple down on what you're believing. It lets you say to yourself, oh, yeah, I tried to show this guy the Podesta art, and I tried to talk to him about Pizzagate, and he wouldn't listen to me because he's just so stuck in his mainstream media CNN bubble that he can't see how he's being lied to in argle-bargle. And it's that kind of mentality that keeps people going. It keeps people pushing forward in this mindset, in this worldview of QAnon. And it just goes to show you that the community and the mindset is really what's important here. Q hasn't been posting or trying since April. They posted once in 5 weeks, and it was 3 posts that were nothing, literal nothing. They don't need Q. What they need is the mentality. They need the mindset. They need the enemy that has been created. They created the enemy of the other. In this case, the other is evil, satanic, pedophile liberals who are destroying America. And they created Donald Trump as a messianic figure that's going to stop them. And that's the world they live in, and that's the world they believe in, and that's the world they want. They want these things to be true. They believe these things to be true, that Donald Trump will save the day at some ill-defined point in the future. And that is what they've wrapped themselves up in. That's the identity they've created for themselves, that I am a good person because I protect the children, I support the president, and the people that are detracting from him aren't detracting from him based on policy or worldview or ideology or just any rational, logical reason. The only reason why these people oppose President Trump is because they are full of hate, and they are evil, and they worship Satan, and they abuse children. And once you are willing to take those steps, once you're willing to make this thing a universal battle between good and evil with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, this becomes a very difficult thing to detach yourself from, because to give up on this is to give up on good. It is to give up on what you believe is right and just in the world. And I understand all of that. One thing I will tell you, though, is that the power that you feel from QAnon, the power that you feel from being righteous, being on the side of good, is false. It is a fake thing that has been given to you by people who are lying to you and manipulating you and using you to their own ends. How many of these people ever post links to organizations that fight human trafficking, that fight child trafficking, that are actual certified groups, probably international in scope and breadth, that actually do the hard work of breaking up these rings, that actually do the hard work of finding kidnapped children and saving them from these ghouls that abduct them? How many people actually name places that you can support and people that you can support that do this hard work? The answer from what I've seen is literally nobody and nothing, because that is what really matters. These are the people that are really doing the work. Not QAnon, not the people that are telling you to make memes or read memes and just get angry at the world. They're just telling you to stay at home and hope things will work out for the best, and all you have to do is yell at people on social media. And that is all they want you to do to participate in this problem. That's all they want you to do to try to quote-unquote solve the problem of child trafficking and child abuse. And there are countless organizations that are working to end child trafficking and human trafficking in general. Love 146, Save the Children, Project Polaris. There's so many people that you could look into, do a little research on, see if you like the way their website looks and what they're saying, if it resonates with you, and give them $20 a month instead of giving Praying Medic or In the Matrix or whoever $20 a month. Don't buy a Q coin this month. Buy $20 funding a group that is actively and aggressively fighting child trafficking. If this matters to you and it's really important, you should hold your local government's feet to the fire. Talk to your state representatives, talk to your state senators and Congress people, talk to the mayor, talk to your governor. Do stuff, get engaged, be a part of the solution, work towards helping end this problem. Because it's not a giant monolithic global evil that is doing these things. It's criminals. It's just criminals who are making a buck, taking advantage of people they think they can exploit. It's the cruelty of our society as a world. It's a really dark thing, and it's not good. But it can be beaten back. It is something that can be done. I mean, it's bigger than all of us, but if we as a society actually actively worked to do this and actively worked to fight this evil, we could reduce it. We could make it smaller, and I think that would be a good thing. Nobody thinks that child trafficking is good. It is an obvious and objective evil. It's just that fighting it is something that has to be done honestly. It has to be done by supporting the people who are actually engaging in the fight, and if they need money, and I'm sure they could use more volunteers if you're willing to go through the arduous process of doing that, then God bless you. But that is so much more meaningful and impactful than what is happening right now, which is a bunch of people online trading weird art pictures to each other and talking about how creepy the Podestas are. The Podestas are not human traffickers. Hillary Clinton is not a human trafficker. Barack Obama is not a human trafficker. Most of the rich and powerful in Hollywood are not human traffickers. There definitely are some that are doing terrible things because this is the nature of the world and there's always terrible things going on. We know this. The Catholic Church, Jerry Sandusky in Penn State, the doctor at Michigan State who was molesting all the gymnasts, the guy who Jim Jordan turned a blind eye to when he was molesting all the wrestlers. There are people who take advantage of other people everywhere in the world. And those people are evil, and they're bad, and I hate them. But we're not fighting them by making memes talking about how JFK Jr. is going to come back on July 16th to save the day. Because the really grim reality of all of this is that no one is coming to save the day. There's no Deus Ex Machina. There's no thing that absolves us of doing the hard work of making the world a better place. That's not going to happen. The world is going to be the way it's going to be, and any change that happens is going to be incremental, slow, and plodding, and can be reversed at a moment's notice. And that is so grim and frustrating, and I totally get that it sucks living in that reality, and that you want to live in a reality where Donald Trump, with a stroke of his pen, will issue the Great D class, and suddenly all the bad guys will be sent to Guantanamo Bay, and the world will be so much better. And in a way, I wish that was possible. I wish it was true that we could have that happen one magical day, that all the bad guys just go away and the good guys just win. But it's not going to happen, because that's not the way the world works. And we need to understand and accept that and get ready for a slog that will last all of our lives and all of our children's lives, because that's the nature of reality. So if this is something you really care about, you need to back up your talk with action. You have to do things in support of these groups that are actually doing the things you claim matter so much to you. You gotta give to these groups. You gotta support these groups. You gotta tweet out about them. You gotta raise awareness about groups that are actually actively trying to end human and child trafficking, because the fight is happening, and you are on the sidelines. You are not helping by posting memes of a weird, yellow-eyed zombie Hillary Clinton ghoulishly extending her skeletal arms towards Donald Trump, who's holding two crying babies in his arms, trying to get away from evil, undead zombie Hillary. Talking about the video where Hillary and Huma mutilate a child and drink adrenochrome-filled blood doesn't help. We're not getting anywhere doing these things. Giving Praying Medic and In the Matrix and Jordan Sather and Dustin Nemos your money doesn't help anything. Helps them a lot. They like filling up their bank accounts with your money. But they're not going to end child trafficking. They're just going to tell you that people are trafficking children and that Donald Trump will save the day. And I'm here to tell you that either after the 2020 election or after 2024, Donald Trump won't be around as president any longer, and you'll notice that the day wasn't saved. And then they'll change the story. They'll tell you that he was a bad guy too, and they'll move on to the next grift. They'll move on to the next scam. And those children are still going to be exploited. They're going to be exploited even if you give the $20. I mean, let's just be honest. This evil is not going to be beaten back that easily. But at least you're doing something. You're taking a step. You're saving someone. You are doing something that is a drop of water in the ocean's worth of good, but you start it. You begin that process. You drop in $20. Then you tell everybody else in your group. Give the anti-child trafficking charity of your choice $20. Support this movement. Grow this movement. Do something. Inspire people. Be proactive. If your state has a problem, or you think it has a problem, fight. Fight, kick, scream, scratch, claw. to get laws changed to make it so that trafficking can't happen in your community. Work hard on these things. Support candidates that support the positions that you're taking. If you can't find any, find somebody to run for office. Can't find anyone that will want to run yourself. I mean, every QAnon supporter in the world likes to laugh at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She was a waitress. She was a bartender before she became a congresswoman. Isn't that stupid? Isn't that America? Isn't that what you could do? I mean, you think she's an airhead. You think that she's just spouting a bunch of talking points that the deep state gave her to say. You can put on a suit or some nice clothes and shake a few hands and kiss a few babies and talk pretty into a microphone, and you could be a congressperson and you could fight human trafficking. So do things. Put your money where your mouth is. Fight this evil. Don't just sit back and smug superiority and send memes out and say, you're a pedophile, pedophile, pedophile. It's not helping. It's not worthy of argument. It's not worthy of discussion. It's not something that actually gets us anywhere. So understand that your supposed enemies are not the human traffickers. The human traffickers are literally in the shadows. They are in Southeast Asia. They are in the third world. They are in underdeveloped countries. They are in places where there are not social safety nets that allow them to abduct children, or the parents are so broke and poor that if the child can work 18 hours a day for 25 cents, the parents are like, that's a good deal, sign him up. And that's how you have these things happen. This is how you have these workshops full of children doing backbreaking labor, and that's their lives. That's the problem. That's the thing that these groups are trying to solve. And it's not a bunch of millionaires and billionaires that you see on television drinking adrenochrome. That's not a thing that's real. It doesn't exist. Are there bad guys who are millionaires and billionaires? Absolutely. Do I want them to get caught? Absolutely. But that is not the systemic child trafficking network that is in the real world. So I ask you to just come back to reality a little bit. And I know it's hard, and I know it's painful, and I know that you have a worldview that is very much centered on this belief. But if your worldview is really all about protecting the children, then start protecting the children. Encourage others to protect the children. And quit thinking that your enemies support child abuse. They don't. No one supports it. Only the people that are doing it support it. And even they know what they're doing is wrong. And they know that if they get caught, they're going to go to jail. And they are going to be shamed. So let's fight the real bad guys. That's what this really comes down to, is fighting the real bad guys who are really doing these things. And I hope you can find that in you. I hope that it's a possibility, that you can understand that the bad guys you've been directed to are not the actual monsters, and that the actual monsters are elsewhere, and they're very boring, and they're very unknown, but they exist, and they need to be fought. So let's fight them. And I'm rambling, so I'm going to wrap this up. I hope this was entertaining and worth listening to, and I will catch you all later.